Hey guys, it's me Lowe's back. This video is I've already uploaded the speed drawing of this, but now I'm gonna just basically talk you through the whole process of this drawing. Now this video is like 42 minutes long nearly. I just wanted to, it's still really speeded up because this video took me about 4 hours to make, so it's still speeded up quite a lot, but you know, as you see, I don't know why it takes so long. I just like to take my time when I'm drawing. Okay, right now you can see that I'm just basically outlining the eye. I already did a freehand sketch. I wasn't feeling too well when I did that, but I did it in a very light, I think 6H clutch pencil. So I'm just going over it now with a HB 0.3 mechanical pencil. So I'm just sharpening those little lines before I go in with the black. Here I go with the eyebrow. Now usually I start with the eye, but I just decided to do the eyebrow. I wanted to get that laid down. So I'm just getting a rough idea there of the shape of the eyebrow. It's so weird seeing my hands without nails. My thumbnail was longer and it broke, as usual, really close to the nail bed. Okay, come on Marie, lay down those lines. It's really weird, by the way, to watch myself draw. Okay, so I've just used the brush to lay down. I think that brush still had a little bit of pastel on it, because that looks like black pastel rather than graphite powder. So here I've gone with the black polychromos pencil. Now you can see there's hardly any left on that one. I'm just basically darkening that line there. That was a very dominant black line. All the way to the corner of the eyelashes, you can see. Sorry, my hand's covering it a little bit here, but and now I think that's the 8B pencil. I just wanted to lay down a little bit more color. It's not quite black, so I don't often use the B's. The highest I usually go is like HB, or maybe 3B. Don't always use like a very dominant B unless I'm just laying down some pencil to blend and darken a certain area. So obviously I've got out the black polychromos pencil again. I absolutely love black polychromos pencils. I need to actually do like a bit of an experiment trying out different black pencils, but I'm very happy with the Fabre castell brand black pencil. Love that one. So I've just done some lines and I'm smudging them because that pencil, even though it's a little bit, you can draw with graphite pencil with it. It's not like pastel, it's not too dry, it's kind of waxy, but you also can blend it slightly. So I've gone over it with a brush, just in certain areas. You can see it's looking a bit fluffy now, the eyebrow. So obviously I've sharpened the pencil and used the eraser to create those lines, and then I just got the eyebrow looking more like an eyebrow. You see at the front of the eyebrow, I laid down some black. That gives it a bit more depth. Okay, so that eye was like a wink. So what I've done is I've just blacked out the whole of the actual middle bit, because that's all eyelashes and where the eye is creased up. So I'm adding all those eyelashes now. What you can't see is how many times I had to sharpen the pencil. And that actually is my last Fabre castell polychromos black pencil. I'm waiting for an order, so. Ooh, she's laying down those lashes. If you hear any banging, that's my daughter in the background. She's got a day off work and she's come in just at the right time to make some noise while I'm recording my voice. You can always rely on your kids. Right now I'm laying down some graphite powder. I've literally got two brushes. One's for graphite powder, one's for pastel. Okay, so now I'm just laying down, that's probably like a 2H pencil, I'm guessing. So I'm just laying down a bit of graphite just to darken a certain area. And now I'm putting a few little shadows and creases and lines, smudging as I go. I just feel my way around really. There was a darker part there, so I just used the brush to smudge it. Now I'm using the eraser, the Mono 0. Back to the eyebrow again. See, I'm all over the place when I draw, all over the place. I just added some lines there. As you can see, it's made that part of the eyelid look like it's push forward. And I think I'm going to need to add some darker graphite over to the left of that eye. Here I go with the HB 0.3 mechanical pencil. I love, between that and the Mono Zero eraser, you can literally create any effect. I'm just dabbing here and there, trying to get that textured effect. I didn't do much under that eyelid at all. That's it, getting those little creases in. Those little lines. Now the time that these things take, I actually rushed that part, but I was just roughly putting down some little lines. There I go with, I'm probably in need of sharpening that pencil again. Yeah, I really rushed that part, because once the most of the eye was done, the top of the eye, I just wanted to get on with it. Okay, just using the black. You see how, I can't stop yawning. You see how I went over it with the HB pencil first, and then I started going over it with the black. I do that a lot because obviously the black is going to be harder to rub out. Now here, over to the other eye, you can see that I'm just using like a light pencil. That's probably like a 7H, and I'm just using that to, well, this one's more like a HB, maybe a 3B, sorry. I've just laid down that lid very lightly, and then I've smudged it because I wanted a little bit of a smudged effect. I've been using these dots lately because I only used to use them when I was doing really detailed drawings, but somehow like there's these little dots if you look up close on the photo, so I just put them there quickly to add an effect that might show a little bit later. So I'm using the black pencil, getting those lashes down. You can see I was quite rough with this one because I know up there is going to be eyelashes mostly. Very careful to make sure that there's a little gap for the lid underneath the iris of the eye. You'll find that that's always there. Now right underneath the iris where there's that little gap, there was one dominant dark, very thin line, so I've laid that down. Now I'm just going around the whites of the eyes. Now I kind of went around the outside softly. I did darken the middle, as you can see now. Then I went around the outside softly and tried to blend it. It didn't blend quite as well as I hoped. So what I did then was I looked back at the picture and it looked like I had quite a dominant line going around it. So I don't know, I think the smudge still kind of helped with the effect. Yeah, it kind of blends out a bit. Here I go with those dots again. This was a very light line, but if I looked up close, you can see some almost little dark dots. So I just laid them down first and then went over dominant with that black line. Once again, you can't see me sharpening. That's the good thing about speeding things up. You miss all the boring bits. I'm just going over tidying up all the eyelashes. Where the eyelid was lighter with pencil, remember I blended it. Well, the reason I did that was because the eyelid was lighter than the actual lashes. So now what you can see is me going over the lashes. The eyebrow, I must have put that on without having the camera on. You did see me use my brush to kind of blend a bit of graphite powder down on the white of the eye, mostly in the corners. Now I'm just touching up that eyebrow. You can see I'm using a blending stump this time around. I don't always use the blending stump, very rarely use it. I definitely don't use it for skin detail, but when you're looking for like a blurred effect or, you know, smudge look, it's definitely useful. And there I go with my handy brush. I love using brushes. I've actually seen some artwork they do with oils, like black oil paints and brushes. I love that. The effect is amazing. So now I'm using like an 8B to just lay down. I think that's like an 8B or 3B. I was using it very lightly. Again, just adding down some graphite. And you can see to the right, under my hand right now, but to the right you can see I've left a little white patch, and closer to the front on the left I've left it lighter. Always follow the tones because that pushes back and pulls forward where it needs to be. So you can see I'm adding some detail now. Like I said, very fast with this one. I just went over it quite relaxed. So now I'm just using a light, probably like a 7H, to just add a bit of depth around those little whites. You can see it kind of makes it look more like skin texture. It's hard to explain everything that I'm doing here, guys. Now, I've been quite ill lately, and if you follow my Snapchat, you'll probably see that I was a bit ill, but my throat's still a bit sore, my voice is a bit off. And as usual, when I'm working, I can't stop yawning. Here I go with the 0.3. You can see now that I'm adding all that detail, just giving it some texture. The eyelid had some creases in it, and I wanted to get that texture in there. Here I go with the creases, just laying them down really quickly. Like I said, love my 0.3 mechanical, love it. And that's more like maybe a 6H, I think, something a 7H. See how it looks quite smudgy? Now I'll use the eraser to just give it a little bit of texture. Darkening across that bottom line, adding a bit of texture with the 0.3. And here I go, darkening the lashes. I was wondering when I was going to do this. Those lashes need touching up, and behind it I need to create a shadow. I hope I did. So I'm darkening it now where it needs to be. You can see it change gradually. This is amazing. So cool when you can actually see it speed it up. It's all a very slow process for me. When am I going to add that shadow? It's quite shadowed behind, but behind those lashes. Here we go. Now the nose took me quite a long time. The nose usually does. I like things to be very smooth. I like it to the graphite to look very smooth. I don't like to see any jagged lines or anything like that, or gaps. So I like to make it look very smooth. So it does take me quite a long time because that's quite a big area. When it goes all the way from the top of the nose, there's a lot of shadows to create the shape with the nose. So it usually takes me quite a long time. Now you can see why often I film from the left and film, because I like to be able to see everything, even though it's not dead on. As you can see, it's dead on now, and my hand covers a lot, so I wonder if this would have looked more effective if it was filmed from the left, but I'll try another time. Now I'm using like a 0.3B, a 3B, or like a 4B. There we go. Nice guess. Now I kind of got the shape a little bit wrong here, but you'll see to the left of the nose, the middle shadow is higher than the side shadow on the left. Now on the nostril, but I do change that. I end up making that the second shadow lower, and the left one on the nostril higher. That's all I can remember. First thing popped into my mind. I often remember the mistakes. So as you can see, I didn't want to go anywhere past that line there. So what I'm doing there is I'm just laying down more graphite from the pencil, maybe what was it? A Fabre. Here we go. You can see me correcting it now. Just trying to make that. No, I still haven't fully corrected it. But around the nose, it was strange kind of shading. You know, when you're doing the nose, it kind of, for me, the nose makes or breaks a drawing. It's like, if you get the nose shape wrong, I don't know what it is. I always say, when someone's in hiding, you should literally give them like a new nose, go get a nose job, I mean, a new haircut, and you just never be recognised again. Because if you have a different nose, I'm recording a voiceover. Do you want to say hello, Tonique?
Hello.
Hey YouTube, that's my daughter. That's my baby girl. She's going to be 18 on the 28th of November. And I'm going to kick her out. Yeah, go on in quickly.
How are you doing this? How are you doing it?
Oh, I'm just recording the audio and I'm going to put it over the video. Okay. At least now she's just interrupted me talking. And when she was little, she used to just come and drag the pencil out of my hand. And dribble all over my arm. Just going in with those shadows now. You can see I'm literally just going over it with the H pencils. I don't know what pencil that is. Like, I have to keep guessing for this video. Here, this one's got to be like a 4B, because I was trying to darken that area there. I don't know what it is about the shadows on the nose. It's so important. And sometimes I'm drawing it exactly as I see it, but it just don't seem right. On the left nostril there, it just didn't seem right to me. But I just went back over it a few times. And no matter how many times I darkened these shadows here, they weren't dark enough. That line was in the wrong place. You know, as you go, you just start to see little things. I correct them just as I go. I just correct them. I don't make any dominant changes immediately. I just start correcting it, you know. To this day, I just haven't had to stop a drawing and throw it away. Like, I did when I was younger, obviously, but I don't really give up on drawings. If I make a mistake, I fix it. I haven't yet come across one I haven't been able to fix. But you have to kind of see them quite early. That's the only thing. I'm just layering down that graphite. Like I said, I don't really like using the B pencils, especially higher up in the Bs. They just give like a grated kind of look, like gappy kind of graphite look. But because it's softer lead, and once you lay it down softly, when you blend it, it kind of blends pretty well. So you can see I'm doing it really softly. Then what I did, there you go, I just added some graphite powder because I was worried that there was going to be still like a gappy line thing when I blended it. I just don't like using the higher Bs. And I used some graphite pencil to lay down with the brush. Now I'm using an earbud to just blend it in. So it was less gappy. You can see there's still some gaps up there, but I will fix that when I'm going over it with a different pencil, probably a H, higher in the H. And here I go with my trusted black polychromos pencil. Can't praise them enough. I actually ordered 2, and an order of 12 completely different colour pencils came. So I've had to reorder. Just darkening those creases. Each one that you darken, it changes the look of the drawing. Still wondering if I'm going to change that line. I think I've fixed it. So I'm just feeling my way around the nose, trying to get that shadow in the middle, trying to get that the right kind of tones in the right areas. Again, the shadows going up the nose on the left was, they just still didn't seem right. They needed to be quite a lot darker. But I'll probably, I was just going to say, I'll probably use my Mono Zero razor to start adding some detail and texture to the skin. highlighting some creases there. Here I go, trying to fix that left nostril. Just didn't sit right with me, that one. Using a lighter pencil now, just to get those lines in the right place, tidy them up. Even though as light as they are, you can barely see them, but in the end, with the close-up, it will make a difference. So now I've gone over it with a HB pencil, mechanical pencil. You can see that I like to do things, I take my time. I start with a light H pencil, then I'll go over it with a HB 0.3 mechanical, because it's sharper, it's more dominant. I do take my time, I like to put things in the right place. Now, I wasn't sure this was going to look like the nose was kind of scrunched up, or scrunched up, should I say. But again, you just have to trust the portrait. You just have to keep going, draw exactly what you see, and trust that in the end you'll get it right. I think at that point it didn't look like it was scrunched up, but I still needed to add some shadows in between the creases. So now, even though that's a HB mechanical pencil, I'm using it very lightly. I did try to use the putty to dab here and there, but it wasn't quite working for me, so I just stopped using that. I didn't use it for long. I didn't want the dots to be too dominant, and it was making it quite dominant, so I went back to the eraser. There we go. Go highlighting once again. I don't know how, just gradually it creates those shadows in between. As you can see, I go over the same process a few times. I just keep going until it looks right to me. This will be a 4B. No, this is a 7H. Yes, good guess. Now again with the black pencil, I was just trying to get that scrunched nose to look like a scrunched nose. Couldn't figure it out. Well, I just followed the process, to be honest. Now, I think maybe now I can't figure it out. Why does it not look right to me? But I'm sure I just need to add some shadows. It's starting to look right now. So we're all in the process. There we go, darken a few of those. Add those shadows. You can see how lightly I touch the paper with that black polychromos pencil. I love using the black polychromos to add skin tone, especially if you're drawing somebody with dark skin tone. I go straight in with that, over pencil obviously. I go straight in with the black and start trying to blend it. Just love that pencil. Here I go, I just laid down some graphite powder. I did not need to do that, I just wanted to do that. I don't know why. I remember when I was doing it, I was thinking, why am I doing this? But then getting that line down, I'd already shaped the lips, I'd already made sure they were the right shape, but I still changed it. Like you can see, I changed that a little bit there. But you always find little mistakes. As you can see, I outlined it very lightly, so when you're starting to do it darker, you get to see the little mistakes, very slight mistakes. Just going around the teeth. I enjoy going around the teeth with that pencil because that pencil is so pointed, so sharp. I could actually get the corners just right. Now what I'm doing is going over it with the HB mechanical pencil, nice sharp pencil. I'm going over it just to make sure that the darkest areas are dominant. All of those areas there are going to be shaded from a dark tone, so I'm not blacking out any area that's not already going to be black or dark. Outlining the lip there. This is a 0. It's a 6H clutch pencil. think I just added that little ridge. I was going to actually draw like the skin above the lip to the nose, but I changed my mind. I like the way it looked. I just added some little lines there at the top of the lip, because you can see the slight creases where the lip line kind of blends into the skin. And because I was going to draw above there, I just added those, but later on I didn't need them. Now I'm using like a 3 or 4B to darken around the lip and add the shadows. It was quite shadowed on one side, then there was a big light patch. Now the light patch was around there, but what I did was I just done it quite lightly now, and then afterwards I went over it with the eraser. You can see I just added a little bit of texture by putting a few shadows there. Now instead of going in with the black pencil, I'm going in with the HB first to add it more depth again. And again, touching up those creases where it bled into the skin. Wasn't necessary. Like I said, I only did that because I thought I was going to draw the skin above there. There we go. That area I just smudged it a little bit dark, but it's all part of the process. I just laid down some of that at the bottom there because the shadow of the bottom lip is completely different. There's a side to the right that's a lot darker. So now I'm using the mechanical pencil to just lay down some lines and creases in the lips, or in the lip, the top lip. It was very dominant at the bottom of that top lip. Actually going with the black pencil after. Very dominant line and shadow where the light was coming kind of down on the face, or straight on, but it just created like a very dark shadow right there underneath the lip. So I'm doing it with the HB first, and then definitely going to sharpen that black pencil and do that again. Just adding those lines and those creases. This is what really brings the lip to life. It really makes it look like a lip. Now from here you really can't see much of the detail, but it really was there. Straight in with the putty rubber. Just wanted to highlight those areas really quickly, and you can see at that point I started to realise and erase those lines at the top. I still wasn't sure what I was going to do at that point, and here we go with the trusted 100 eraser. Now this is where I darken this area here. Being careful with that black pencil there, because I didn't want to like overdo it. I didn't want to make it too dark. I think if I was drawing the whole face, I would have had to do it a lot darker because the lady's skin was quite dark. So, but the way how I drew it here, it was like everything was in the right tone. But I think I do find that as I'm drawing things, I think I've got it right. And then when I get to a very dominant black part, like under the shadows, in the shadows, then I start to realise like I judge that colour against the rest, and then I might have to go darker. So I like to kind of do it gradually, so that if you're going too hard too quick, then you're going to end up making the picture unsavable. Here I am, all over the place. I was actually adding the shadows under the nose and around the nose, tidying it up, but again darkening it because I realised it needs to be darker. Hopefully I add some shadows at the top there. But I'm so glad that I didn't actually, at that point I was thinking about doing really dark under the nose, shadow under the nose, but luckily I didn't, otherwise I would have had to draw all of that part there. And I just think it looks more effective like this. Now here we go. I basically used the 6H clutch pencil because it lays down very light, and I used that to get the gums. Now there were like 3 different light tones to the gums. So what I did was I laid it down first with the 6H. Now that one there is the 0.3 2H, I think, mechanical pencil. Now after I'd done it with the 6H, I darkened the parts that were darker with the 2H mechanical pencil, and now here I am with the HB to add those very dominant lines. Now up close with the gums, you can see the different tones in the gum. Very important. Now I've just smudged a little bit of colour, a little bit of graphite over the teeth, because the teeth were almost extremely white, but I could still see a slight shadow, so. You would think you can't see the difference, but you can see I erased a little bit of the teeth there, and I just do what I see. Even though it doesn't look like you can see an effect, afterwards it should be right, because even the whites of the eyes weren't white, if you remember. Now I'm just going over the black parts, the parts that are going to be black, making those lines more dominant. Now those bottom teeth at the back were they were obviously in shadow, so I've got to get around to that now. Just still touching up, darkening certain areas. Here I go. Now I've left that white patch, and now you can see me just kind of blending over it gradually, and so you can almost not see it. And then I smudge it with a blending stump, and there we go, blacken it out again, and then shadow over it slightly. There we go. And it kind of fades it into the background. I think this is like a 4B. I'm just throwing down the areas that are darker. Again with the black pencil, because there was quite a dominant line going around, and it was different shapes. That line across the bottom of the bottom lip, it was thicker on the left, thinner at the bottom, almost non-existent over to the right, and then again dominant going up at the right. So I was just trying to get that right. Now I'm using a lighter H just to shade around the top of the bottom lip and the bottom of the bottom lip, and now you can see it kind of giving it some roundness, making the lip look fuller, giving it some shape. And I really like watching this gradually. I really like this process. If only I did draw that fast, it would be brilliant. I'd just be pushing out so much work. Here I go. Now I had sharpened that on some sandpaper on my table. I sharpen it often. Now I'm just creating the ridges and the lines. I do it really as a guide, so then I can go with the pencil after, but you know, I use that 100 eraser. I use that just the way I use a pencil. It's like I draw with it, if you know what I mean. Every tool is what I draw with, everything, including the eraser. Just tidying things up. Here I go with the HB mechanical. Really coming together. There's a lot of detail in that bottom lip, obviously. Take some time to do. I mean, I could have drawn this in 20 minutes, but this is the thing. It's all about how much time you're willing to spend, how realistic you want it to look. I think I'm gonna do like a video showing the times, like maybe how it looks after 10 minutes, and then again like an hour, and then like 2 hours maybe. And then I went over with a clutch pencil just to add the lighter lines, very faint ones, and now I'm going over it again with a mechanical pencil. to make more dominant lines. And here I go, adding the texture of the lip. And again to the top lip. Yeah, this is like finishing touches to the lips. I don't know how, but I always need to go over the black areas. It's like during the time of me drawing with the graphite pencil, the black just decides to just disappear. I always think I'm doing the black dark enough, but when I go over it, I have to do it darker. So I don't know what that is, but there we go, just touching up them shadows. Now I'm just laying down the actual shadows of the inside of the teeth, the shape, with the blending stump first. Then I went over it with pencil. I just wanted to lay it down in the right place, give it that texture, well, give the lumps and corners a shade, rather than drawing the lines and then shading it. It just worked better that way. I think by now I was in the zone, so when I get in that zone, I just start taking shortcuts and doing everything like quicker. Here we go, just drawing those creases again with the not very mechanical. And it worked really well. I mean, all I needed to do was highlight slightly and smudge. As you see, I just smudged. Here I go, laying down the black for the shadows. I'll probably, after I've done the black, I'll probably smudge it and then highlight it with the eraser, and then that'll be the teeth done. There we go, I'm kind of I'm just blackening out the area behind there. I should still smudge it though, but I don't know if I did. Maybe with a blending stump or a earbud. Now I go back to the lip. Yeah, I've smudged it with the earbud. Nice and quick, it didn't take much. Now I'm just laying down the graphite from it for all over the place. That's just Marie style. Here I go with the highlights to the teeth. Look at the difference. Really bringing them to life. Sharpening the highlight around the top teeth, and then I was able to just lay it down more dominant again, because I know that area there is going to be shadowed, so I really wanted to make sure it was crystal crisp lines and very dominant, so the teeth really stand out. Just basically colouring in. I'm like a really good colouring inner. I'm just good at colouring in, literally. Why I use that pencil, I don't know. I do things like this all the time. I get so in the zone, but actually I'm adding like a little bit of a creased effect on the tongue as well. But I also need to add some dots to the tongue to add that texture. You know, on the tongue you get these little white dots. I need to add some more texture there. Where had I gone? Marie. She's back with the black. She's going over the black again, because that's what I do. It just didn't look right. Okay, so I've had to sharpen the black pencil again, and now I'm making that line even more dominant. Now it doesn't mean that I should have done that straight away, because if I'd have made a mistake, then it would have been almost not fixable. So I was right to go over it with the mechanical pencil, but now that that's done, I'm just using the black to make those shadows now, and then it's not just colouring in. You can see I'm just doing it lower down, then higher up, lower down, higher up. You've got to literally do what you see, guys. In the middle of the tongue, there was the crease. You could see the shadow. Yeah. I really enjoyed this drawing. I don't know why. I just wanted to draw a face without going in with the whole face. It was just, I just wanted to draw the features. I think that's what I love. Drawing faces. I think it's just drawing those facial features. It's my thing. Different types of eyes, eyebrows, nose. I'm not a fan of drawing eyebrows, but nowadays I find it easier. So That's probably how it goes back to my fear of drawing hair all them years ago. Now this camera doesn't really show the depth, which is a little bit annoying, but this is going to be my signature slowed down. Now this was in normal speed, so now it's slowed right down. My signature used to be a lot more messy. All these signing these drawings, it's just got a bit neater and neater and neater. I've got the hang of it now. Always put a date at the bottom. Old habit. When I was a kid, I used to write by Marie and my middle name and Lowe, and then I'd be like age 7 or age 12, and then underneath that the date, and then my signature. My mum and dad were like, always sign your work. I didn't know I could just put a signature and a date. I used to really go in. But it's good though, you look back and you see all these pictures from when you were like 7 or 12. Now, the contrast might be slightly high on this here. That's not a very clear image. It doesn't show the detail in as much detail as there was, but yeah, so that's the end of this video, guys. I just thought I'd do a little voiceover. Like I said, I'm new to all of this. It's my first time over voicing over, but I'll be back with you next with, I think, a video of Miss Cardi.